Record. Hello, John.
You know what?
And today we're going to talk about old Irish expressions and slang. So that's what's on the menu. So can you give me a word there that's an
That's
old-fashioned word?
aye. Have you a few of them there, or
I'm going to start off with acting the cod.
right acting the well? I often heard of that. That's
Behaving,
somebody being a bit
yes,
of a fool and kind of telling tall stories like that.
yes,
That they often say that. For example, acting the cod, a lad that you wouldn't know whether he was serious or not.
that's right. Now, the
Yeah,
next one, a one you don't hear very much
yeah.
now, but I used to hear it as a child from the teachers, tomfoolery.
Aye, this was like you weren't behaving properly.
That's right, silly or mischievous behavior.
You were talking when you should have been listening or something.
Now, what about something you might notice from business? A Gombeen.
Yeah, well, I've heard of that, and that's usually a fella that you couldn't trust. And it usually meant a person that was other individual. You'd be with you today and against you tomorrow. You couldn't kind of a person, Gombeen. And there was another one, a fair play. That was a kind of a compliment that, well, you did your best like that. Fair play to you. But another one that I used, the creek were doing a paddle, and that meant that you weren't able to sort of solve the problem or whatever it was, uh, going pear shaped. In other words, they were going wrong. Do the right thing.
There's
So
one,
it
there-
wasn't working out.
there's one that you always use, and it's scarce as hen's teeth.
Aye. That's right. Well, that was an expression that was fairly common in my time, and it meant that trying to find a job in my time was scarce as hen's teeth, anywhere, or you couldn't depend on anything or anybody. You had to have pull to get yourself into the situation. Yeah, in receipt of a salary, like you jingling up, because that was important, and then you might be able to afford a packet of cigarettes rather than hoping somebody produced one and started to give us a puff out of that. We all smoked those times. There seemed to be no health towards that when it come later. But be that as it may, that and so you would be money was just teeth, that kind of thing. And there was another one, an Amadán. That was a kind of a lad that wasn't that was the kind of a lad that was making out to be stupid, and he wouldn't be stupid at all. And he wouldn't know what he was,
So
an
Amadán,
Amadán, because you couldn't.
an Amadán is an Irish word, but then you got the female version, which is the Oinseach.
Oh, it was male and female.
Well,
That's
Amadán's
what
and
presidents were,
Oinseachs. Yeah.
female made. And then the yarn, you haven't heard of it, but that's a good yarn story. That was another sort of a popular one that you'd hear.
Yeah.
It's a good yarn, and fluthered. No, there was Finn the Fluther's ball. Could have been all Fluther Finn the Fluther's ball, because you weren't sober. You were in a receipt of more than in other words, you were staggering. So that was Fluthered. Mitching. Mitching sounds like as if you might have a niche, but it wasn't Mitch school. Now, I think it's not something that I tell you enjoyed. It depends on where. I think I did it once, and my father was transferred to Boy Counter's Common, and I think I might have missed there once, but then it's the best settle in, and that's one thing that kind of a change had a good effect on yours truly. Fitted in, and I would say that sort of issues that you could be bullied and so on and so forth. It got on pretty well then. Sorts of individuals that it would be tough. There'd be bullies in schools. They to handle all these situations, and it gave you a great gift and so able to sort of. It was a blessing, and it gave you a great gift in being able to things. As regards, admission. People, young lads did that. They might have been not too happy when the schools they were in, or they might have had difficulties in one way or another. Might have happened, and there's always often an excuse, but there's often things that just don't happen off the cuff. And another thing that is banjaxed. Now that's an expression that you don't hear in the US or anywhere else like that. They don't have these expressions. Man, it meant that you were up to three during paddle, but it pear shaped. Everything was going wrong for you. Pear shaped. So if it was from another, doesn't it?
Uh,
Banjacks, things were going not right for you.
no.
Or you were up the creek with the other paddle, as the fella says. And then it wasn't necessarily about the weather. It was wherever you were at. And it can't be that hard, you might be saying. That that's slack. I remember there was a fella on the TV days, and he was carrying a thing, and mind your back, that you didn't suddenly have a bad back, carrying more than you could. Heavy weather, wouldn't you? Ossified, ossified. That's a bad way to be. In other words, you were staggering pretty badly. Thing is for you to sort of, if you get it, you stop walking when you can't walk, and conversation would be all over the place. Matter of fact, Frank Hall, you three fellas in a pub and talking, and you didn't know what they're talking about at one time, and it was very funny the way it was done. Yeah, they weren't ossified, but they were at that bracket. And another thing that people often used to say, a soft day.
A soft
Thank God.
day.
It could be spilling. It could be spilling, and it was a day, thank God. So they tried to make, even if they were drowned, soft day, thank God. And they're drowned it.
There's
They
one
didn't bring a
there.
raincoat.
There's one there you haven't mentioned, and the Count Corla mentioned it in the doll. A holy show of yourselves.
Aye, that's right. They were all shouting at the one time, and and then eventually she asked some fella to sit down uh, from Donegal, Sinn Féiner, and so she had to stop the whole thing, and then they were outside whinging about this, that, and the other, and all sorts. Instead of just live and let live, for goodness sake, did they at home? I wonder. Must be hard going with the like of them. What do you think?
I think
Uh,
you're right.
you know, deadly. Saying a thing that was used, and it was meant to kind of uh, manky. That was it was kind of like the ossified. It was they weren't the full killing. That's another explanation. full chilling. I
Yeah, full
couldn't know
chilling.
one word bars about that.
Full chilling was
Yours
good. Yeah,
were
yeah.
a bit stupid,
What does
and maybe it wasn't their fault.
gerrymandering mean?
Dirty man, what's that?
I don't know. To gerrymander, I'll have to check it here. Just 2 seconds. Okay.
Dirty man, yeah, doing too good, is it?
Gerrymandering is manipulating the boundaries to favor one
Yeah, there
class,
you are.
or the other.
It's, so it's not a good way. There was a lot of these little expressions that we had down the years. Uh, as mean as a church mouse, that was another one. You didn't come out with that one. As mean as that meant because you wouldn't get a fart out of them. You wouldn't even get a puff of a cigarette when you were smoking.
What about
Uh,
what about a
as
kit?
mean as a church.
What a,
What?
what about a kitogue?
A ketog.
A left
That was a
left
left-handed person,
left
wasn't it?
yeah, left-handed person.
And I see some people writing with the left hand, so I never had that problem to right-handed all the time. And I know people writing with the left ambidextrous, so I wonder wherever else there might be some
What about
with the,
what about
not that.
what about this one? What's with the long face?
That's another one. People were in some ways up the creek, but they were a paddle, if you like. In other words, things wouldn't work well. The news was bad on the horizon.
And here's a good one. Here's a happy news.
You know,
What about as happy as Larry?
well, there you are. You see that thing. Um, you were whistling. You were good. And funny enough, that's the best way to be.
Hmm.
No matter what sort of happen, with in the course of a day. Um, when you have, if I'm here, if I'm talking any talking to the kettle, I say you're a bit of the slow side boiling, I notice. And if I wasn't looking at you, but if I'm looking, I say, will you boil over that? I talk to the kettle, and
No.
and that could. But I don't have the problem of somebody sort of saying, "Will you do this, that, and do things myself?" For example, I was doing a bit of tidying. I did a lot of work there one of the days. I don't know what come over me. And today, when I'm trying to clean, for example, the mantelpiece here in the sitting room, I had to take all the stuff off and then get give it a nice clean and wiping all the rest of it. And then I did this one here behind me, and I did this one. I had to get a cloth to clean that, and then give it a polish. So I
John
did that.
Malone. John Malone, will you stick to the program? You're going off in all directions. You're making a holy show of yourself.
Which is the way it goes, isn't it?
Now, I
You
want to
don't
tell
always
you,
stick to the narrative. By the way, we did a program about and President Trump and making a comparison, and I was talking about uh, calm waters, and lo and behold, Mr. Trump has changed. The President Donald John Trump has changed his mind visibly all these years. With the list he had, he's postponed it for 6 weeks or
John
something.
Malone, can we go back to our program, please? Now, I want to say to you, okay? I want to say to you,
Talking about calm waters. That's a
oh,
phrase
sorry, yes,
too.
yes, yes, I get you now. I know where you're going from. I know where you're
Calm
going now.
water. So it means things are not as difficult as they might seem at first. Wiser counsels often prevail, and that's what happened this yesterday. And lo and behold, he suspended all this for 6 weeks or something of that caliber, because it was causing confusion. And there's no point, as we were saying, in causing antagonism. Hasten right. That's another expression.
That's
Hasten slowly. Don't be rushing the
that's
gate.
right. Yeah.
You hear that expression there,
Yeah.
like a butt at the gate.
Yeah. Now,
And you happen to get over the gate, the bull is after you.
very good. Very good. Now, happy as Larry, the likely origin refers to Larry Foley, an Australian boxer who was undefeated in his career and reportedly won a substantial amount of money, leading to reports of him being in the crowd and being as happy as Larry. That's where it comes from. So it comes from around the 1870, I think it is, 1800s. And it's from Larry Foley. So there you go. It's amazing the way these phrases take off.
Yeah, so that could have been a distant relative. And
Absolutely.
so he was stuck in Australia in the desert, because there's a lot of places there, and you'd want to be plenty of water with you, because it's as hot as anything.
Hmm.
That's a vast country, and the weather is it rough. It'd be a country that I wouldn't be fancy going to. I'd like a temperate climate.
Yeah.
Have here. I sat out in my deck chair there today, and got a bit of a minutes, whipped off things, and hoosed up my trousers, and very important.
Hmm.
So this is one of the great I have where I live. I can do that, and would do it any in the suburbs. You can't very well sit out unless you have a private back. But if
Hmm.
you sit out in the front, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is looking at you, wondering what you're up to. And so I don't have that problem here. The people walk, and funny enough, I hear they were talking about 77 different languages. So I hear quite a few different times. The ones are talking, and they're on their own, but have some kind of and they're talking to somebody and talking out loud. And I said to myself, what's wrong with them? Walk and admire the scenery, and take a time out for the soul, being in constant touch. You
That's
know
it.
what I'm saying? Then you get other ones, ladies often walking, they're having a bit of a chat, which is good. It's walking, different types. You get all sorts, foreigners and all. I hear them talk
That's it.
languages that I never heard tell in my life.
Very good. I have to go, John, because
You
I
know,
have a
so
call coming in there in a few minutes. So listen, that was great anyway. So old Irish slang words. I think we covered a lot of them there.
we did, and the day is long, the day is long, and the night short, or something like that.
And and
Uh,
and and and
hills of
Oliver,
and
here's another one.
hills of green far away. Did you ever hear of that?
Yeah, and did you ever hear this one?
That meant there wasn't.
Oliver's getting long in the tooth.
I did. You're marching up the tree of life.
I'm marching up the tree of life. There you
Uh,
go. Talk to you. Bye.
yeah, there you go.
Bye.
Bye now. Take care. Bye.
Bye.